Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, what I want to talk about right now is fishing locomotion. It's the best way I can put it. How we go about getting to fish in the area that we want to fish. Do we have a bass boat? Do we have another kind of craft that we can get on the water that can travel in shallow water? That's always a factor. Or do we wade like I do? Wading is a way of locomotion as well. It gives me the opportunity to cover a good area of water and cover at my own speed and be in control of what I do. But there's so many disadvantages to wading, to other type of fishing. You have to weigh all those in when you decide how you want to go fishing. Well, I recently had a chance to fish in something that takes me way back to when I first started doing TV shows. Every show that I did was out of a Coleman crawdad. That's a little tub of a boat that two people can lift and carry for a distance. And you set it in the water, and you're sitting in like a bathtub in the water. But there's so many advantages to a boat like this. And I recently had a chance to fish in one of my buddy Alex's Bass Raiders. And I really need to tell you about some of the advantages to something like that. You know, in the same water, we were fishing one of the rivers. And in these waters, we normally can go with a canoe or a kayak. But one of the disadvantages of a canoe is a lot of people feel very unstable in a canoe. You know, they don't want to get in because they're fear of tipping over. And canoes can be really tippy. You got to have a sense of balance and sort of feel as one with the canoe. Once you do that, they don't feel as tippy. But anyway, these Bass Raiders, as they're called, these little tubs of boats, maybe 10 feet long, and they weigh a considerable, and they're made out of fiberglass or some material similar. And they give you the opportunity to fish bodies of water that you wouldn't be able to wade very easily. And you can't get a big boat in. And if you don't feel stable in a canoe, then you can't fish these waters. But by getting one of these boats, what the advantage is you're sitting out there in something so stable that I know when Linda and I talk about going fishing, she's scared to death of falling in and drowning because she can't swim, and canoes can be so tippy. But something like this is the ideal for a couple members of the family that would like to go out fishing together. That you can sit in there, and if you can relax when you're fishing, you're going to enjoy fishing a lot more. And if you're not feeling tippy all the time or worried about falling in, these kind of boats are really a great find. And the day I spent on one of our rivers fishing in this Bass Raider really made me realize all the advantages to something like this. We're able to cover the same amount of water we would with a canoe. You can, when you get to real shallow water, you can get out and drag it through the shallow parts, then get back in the canoe and sit and relax and cast and fish, or back in the Bass Raider. There really is something you ought to look at if you've wondered about how to fish some of these bodies of water around us, because again, our area is water everywhere. And one of the advantages is that most of this water that exists everywhere is full of fish. It's just an incredible opportunity that we have in this area. And the other thing is that there's access to most of this water where you don't have to pay, or you don't have to feel like you're trespassing on somebody else's land. And it's important that you realize that if the shoreline does go through somebody else's land, it's important that you do get permission before you walk through it. But again, the type of way we fish is so critical. And I think so often we've never spoken about these. I know I fished all over the continent in this little crawdad, and they they made wonderful fishing memories for me, and they could you as well. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.